Alright, ladies, this is Alex from Mindful Attraction 2.0, and this is me from New York City. So in today's video, we're going to talk about the top 3 books that I recommend for women to read. And the reason why I recommend these books is because it'll definitely help you in social dynamics. It'll definitely help you improve the relationships you have and the way you communicate. And these are books that I've read and that it definitely changed the way I communicate with people. All right, and these are the books that you got to read and actually do what it says. You can't just read it and just think about them, but these are books that you actually apply. And just like the things that I teach on my channel, like these are things that doesn't just help you in dating, but it just helps you in your life in general. All right, and just keep that in mind. All right, look at these little birds fucking stalking me and looking at me. I remember you motherfuckers. By the way, pigeons in New York City have no respect for humans, yo. They forget which one is a dominant species. Like, I was skating and I skated through and they hardly move anymore. Anyways, all right, let's get started. So the first one is actually the 48 Laws of Power. Highly recommend it. I'm actually going to do a podcast today, so expect a podcast before 1 p.m. on my podcast. So I'm going to leave the link to my podcast below. Is it? There you go. I'm gonna leave the link to the podcast below. But the 48 Laws of Power it's important because it shows you a lot of the things that people do wrong in terms of power. For example, one of the things that it says is, let me show you what I mean, right? Because they help you with your relationships. Like, it's not just like how to have power, but rather it's more like how to maintain power in a relationship. Now, this is more about the external things you have to do, right? So this is more like the practical base. The other one is more about the inner reality base, which is how to actually improve yourself. So this is more about how to get him to do things you want him to do, or just people in general. And the other one is about how to actually control your inner reality, control your emotional states. All right. So this one, the 40 Laws of Power, I recommend it any more than I do the other books, because this one is just amazing. The other one would be the Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. That one is a book that I always talk about consistently on this channel, and you guys will hear me talk about this always. And the reason why I like that book is because it talks about how to really just change your life. Like, it's about how to actually be happy, right? And the thing is that, like, the Power of Now is not just, I'm not a big fan of the spiritual, the way it sounds so spiritual, like it says, like the beginning of freedom is a realization that you're not the thinker. The moment you realize this, it says a higher level of consciousness becomes activated, and it just sounds too spiritual for my part. But aside from that, it's one of the best books that I read in my life on happiness. I mean, it's just like even to this day, it's just like it's been the most transformative book I've ever read in my life. It really was. And that's a book that I highly recommend that everyone reads, because just like it changed me, it could change your life as well. You understand? The third one would be, let me see. See, these things are just things that I just pick up randomly. The third one that I would recommend for relationships is The Art of Seduction by Robert Greene. And a lot of people, I don't understand why people think that book is not applicable. They say it's just theory, but personally, I see it as an applicable kind of book. Now, the reason why I might see it that way is because I have the practical experience from an analytical perspective, which is I didn't just learn how to date, but rather I learned it in a very systematic way. Like, I actually focused on it, right? And I actually said, okay, I'm gonna learn this. I'm struck. What the hell's going on? What is going on? I'm gonna learn this, and I'm actually going to learn how to apply this one part, right? And that's what I did, and that's what actually happened. And so it's not just that I randomly learned this. I actually took this time out, found out areas that I sucked in, and actually just focused on it. Like, it's like an actual sport. So when I read a book like The Art of Seduction, it really helps me. It allows me to see things from a different perspective. You see, it allows me to understand at a deeper level. And so I guess that's why I'm able to apply a little bit more, right? What's another good book that I recommend? Obviously, Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz is another one that I highly recommend. Now, a book that everyone keeps talking about is How to Win Friends and Influence People. I never read that book before. That's not a book that I ever read, so I just never read it before. But everyone keeps talking about it, right? But if I recommend another one, it's the what's the book called? It's Radical Acceptance by Tara Bach. That's another great book that I highly recommend. And it just shows you how to accept the unacceptable, because when it comes to dating, the most important thing to dating is being able to let go. It's not how to get the guy, but rather how to let go. It's kind of like in sports, right? Like people who skate, right? Skaters, I have a skateboard right here. The best skaters are not the ones who do the best tricks, but rather, like, not skater, but like, if you notice people who know how to skate, they know how to fall. Like, good skaters know how to fall. Like that's like the number one quality, is that they learn how to fall the right way, right? And so that's one thing about good skaters. So the same thing with dating is that if you're able to let go, like knowing how to let go the right way, you'll be able to actually be very, very good at dating, because you know how to let go. Let it go is the most important thing, or else you're always gonna get hurt. All right. And that's just one of those things. And again, like, books is one of those things that you wanna become an addict to reading books, because in life you don't get a lot of mentors. In life you don't have a lot of people. Most people don't have the privilege to know highly influential people who have a good character, who have a good basis and whatnot. But reading books is a way for you to actually find a mentor without actually having one, because you could get in their heads and you become obsessed. And something that I learned is that if you want to develop a certain skill set, you want to become obsessed about someone who mastered that skill set. Right? You want to. This kid's just looking at me with snots on his face. Like, you want to become obsessed about a certain person who has that skill set. For example, like when I wanted to become a very good marketer, I became obsessed about certain marketers and just studied them. But anyways, this is Alex from mindfulattraction.org. I hope you guys have a good day, and bye bye.